You know, my friend, the tutorial continues. I feel this need. I feel this need on my part to fill you in on what's happening because I don't think anybody's really giving you the straight story. I know that sounds rather I don't know what the word is, not pedantic or whatever, but it's true. It's absolute. So I want you to get it. And there are two stories tonight, two stories which I want to bring to your attention. And they show you kind of where things are going because up till now, you, like most people, are using this left versus right and the conservative versus the liberal and all that other kind of nonsense. That isn't the way to go. That's not the way to go. By the way, don't try to use your YouTube on your phone because I was using it. I have to switch yours back. Don't let me. Good.
Something popped
I know
up.
what you're talking about. I know.
Something.
Mrs. L's phone just all of a sudden starts talking to her. Anyway, so here's the story. You're used to this. And many of the time I can read some of the comments. People are just confused. They're angry, or worse, they try to say something funny. And when people try to say something funny, that's when it gets real bad. So tonight, don't try to be funny. Let's just speak from the heart. Let's just speak from the heart. And I'm going to give you two examples of things you should know. We're going to be looking at this man. Make the dream great again. You have my attention, sir. The great Big Dick from Chi-Town. God bless you, Dickie. God bless you. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take two stories. The great Trump versus Elon, what that means. And also this Simone Biles versus Riley Gaines. Two huge stories. And one of the and the reason is it's not the story, it's what the story means. And that's what we're going to be talking about, okay? So it's very, very critical. Now, there's a lot to be said for this. Make sure you are subscribed to Lionel Nation. Make sure you are part of this because for reasons I do not understand, we are finding out, this still amazes me, that there are folks that 80%, if not more, of the people who actually watch the videos aren't subscribed. So we have to fix that. So before we do that, and before we get into tonight's subject matter, and this is a great tutorial, bring your kids in, bring your grandkids, bring the neighbors, gather around, because the professor is going to teach you a few things. And I say that with all due respect, not in a pedantic way, but I think you need to know this. But first, this. Are you drowning in debt, struggling with credit cards or medical bills or personal loans? Well, you're not alone. There's help, real help available right now. National Debt Relief is one of the top-rated debt relief companies in America, helping thousands of individuals like you break free from overwhelming financial burdens. For anyone owing over $10,000, National Debt Relief may be able to reduce that debt by up to half or even more. No bankruptcy, no new loans, just a smarter, faster way to financial freedom. Now, here's how it works. Step one, you submit the form at No Debt with Lionel. Just go there right now. Step two, a representative will call within minutes to discuss personalized options. In step three, they'll create an affordable plan tailored to your individual budget and timeline. Many clients become debt-free in as little as 24 to 48 months, paying less than they owe and avoiding years of stress and interest. And the consultation is completely free with no obligation. So what are you waiting for? Why keep dodging calls and watching interest stack up? So go right now to nodebtwithlionel.com. That's nodebtwithlionel.com. This could be the turning point, the step toward peace of mind, control, and a fresh start. nodebtwithlionel.com. Go now. Let's do a couple of things here. Let me see if I can bring you up to speed on a few ideas, which are very, very critical, because what I want to do is I want you to disabuse yourself from this notion of the way you thought about politics. Democrats, Republicans, left versus right, liberals versus conservative, progressive, doesn't matter. So that's why these poor people don't. They're not going to exist. And a lot of these folks, basically, in the world of politics, well, they're trying, but they're feeding to the audience a language that they think their audience understands. Well, we are not a member of that audience. So, my friends, we are in a nation. We are in a group right now. We are in a group that's very fascinating. We are in a culture right now that is fractured, dare I say, fractured by deep, I think you'd call them cultural fault lines or kind of tectonic plates or these very critical parts. But you're seeing two kind of high voltage developments that are meeting, and they serve as the perfect tutorial. And they both have erupted, and I want you to understand, because each reveal the accelerating collapse and breakdown of American consensus. What am I talking about? What is he saying? Let him go on. Okay. One of these pits, I guess you'd call her conservative firebrand. I don't know, but I think she makes a lot of sense. Riley Gaines against Olympic icon and a fool who is going to throw her entire likability and endorsement worth, throw it away. Simone Biles. Isn't that interesting name? In this heated battle over transgender inclusion in women's sports, which no one in the United States agrees with. Nobody believes that transgender women, translation, men, deserve this. Period. End of discussion. So that's one thing. The other issue exposes a political chasm, schism, a divide, a reckoning, so to speak, between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Now, on the surface, these seem like, oh, I don't know, like some kind of unrelated dramas. You know what I mean? They look like, well, what does he have to do with each other? They have a lot to do with each other. But when you look closer, you'll find a common thread. It's a war. It's a war over identity, this identitarian nonsense, power, and the future direction of American life. This is what I want you to do. See, you're never going to hear this on a lot of shows because they don't really understand it. They look at it in terms of the initial story. They'll say, oh, it's about transgender women. No. That's a part of it, but it's deeper than that. And you can start right now with Riley Gaines against Samantha Biles. Riley Gaines against Biles. Gaines, the former NCAA swimmer, who has become the leading voice, so to speak. She's become the leading voice of I don't know what you want to call it, this movement, all right, but she's become the leading voice against transgender inclusion in female sports. And by the way, transgender, I mean, it's men. It's a man competing against a woman. And this transgender, it sounds wonderful, but you act like it means, the term means nothing. It's still a man. It's like if I were to compete as a professional in an amateur setting or as an adult among juveniles, my age, okay, we got that. This, of course, has drawn fierce applause and condemnation alike. Her argument is very blunt, very simple. Biological males competing against women undermines fairness and safety and a host of other issues, and years of hard-won gains in women's athletics. Women's athletics. This is obvious. Now, Enter Simone Biles. Okay, she's a decorated gymnast, a woman, survivor of USA Gymnastics, one of the darkest scandals ever. And this cultural event or touchstone or this whatever. Biles recently voiced support for a trans gymnast called Marissa Rothenberger. This is what Tucker does. British people say a man called, we always say named, but the British say a man called Horse, a man called Erwin Schrödinger, a man called, this is a gymnast called Marissa Rothenberger. You've never heard of her, him, whatever. And this person's participation in a women's invitational prompted a lot of criticism, as you can imagine. You see, Riley Gaines responded by referring and referencing the sexual abuse endured by female athletes, including Biles herself, framing it, and this is what really pissed her off, framed it as a kind of an invasion, as a broader violation of women's bodily autonomy. Oh boy. Well, that struck a nerve. Biles called the remarks truly sick, accusing Riley Gaines of weaponizing trauma and appropriating it. You know, an online reaction was explosive. I mean, defenders of Riley Gaines saw a brave stand for biological reality, and critics, of course, saw this kind of cruelty, you know, dressed as conviction. How dare you? Either way, the social media world did what it does best: escalate, distort, divide, overreact, the usual, okay? But what's really happening here isn't just this little squabble or spat between two athletes. No. It's a flashpoint in a larger war between those who defend traditional gender norms and those who identify as fluid. More importantly, it's a proxy for how we define fairness and womanhood and gender and victimhood and this thing called truth. Now, zoom out to the political battlefield. Trump and Musk, who were once ideological allies, are now in complete disruption, apparently. They're locked in a feud that could alter the trajectory, if you will, of the right, or what we call the right. And as you'll see, this word's not sure. See, Donald Trump recently warned, very specifically, he warned that if Musk dares fund a third-party candidate or primary elections, if he dares to fund Democrats, dares to in future elections, there would be, quote, these are his words, very serious consequences. What does Trump mean? Is this the work? And this wasn't just a public jab. It was a line in the sand. Now, Musk, as you know, Musk had criticized a Republican-backed spending package. You know, the big, beautiful bill or whatever. He called out the party's hypocrisy on fiscal discipline. He said a lot of stuff about it. Like he pretended, Trump says it was because of the EV reference. It wasn't because of that. You knew all about it. You're pretending this. You knew all about this stuff. This was a fact that you weren't, you know, in it. But also he said it was something else. It was the fact that maybe Elon's not the big shot anymore. Maybe by virtue of some particular statutory rule, he had to leave. Who knows? Now, Trump did not particularly care for this, dare I say, this rebuke. And despite the fact that Elon put in $250 million into Trump's 2024 campaign and also, you know, other Republican or GOP races, the alliance, as you can imagine, appears to be cracking, or is it? So Elon, in turn, has floated forming a new political party. What do you think about that? for the, quote, politically homeless. Now, all of a sudden, this, I mean, is this supposed to be real? Did Elon know about this? What could it really have? Is it Elon acting crazy? Is it a rib? Is it a work? Is it that? I don't know. But let's be clear. Let's be clear. This is more than personal drama here. It's a high stakes philosophical divorce between two vastly different visions of America. Vastly, all within the rubric of right or conservative, which is my point. Now, Trump represents the populist America First movement, okay? And that is nationalist, anti-globalist, rooted in sovereignty, faith, borders, economic protectionism, his coalition that I think we all are part of is blue collar, traditionalist, deeply skeptical of the Peter Thiel types and the big tech types and the technocrats in the Silicon Valley and the global finance. That's who we are. But enter Musk. What's he about? By contrast, he's the crown prince of the innovation class. Elon's worldview, supposedly, as some people say, is techno-libertarian. I love that term. He's for decentralization. He loves crypto, space colonization, AI governance, maybe some transhumanism, digital freedom. I mean, he doesn't like waste, but is he really one of us? Do we really see eye to eye? Does he really stand for family values? Is he really a conservative? He speaks not in red, white, and blue Americana, but in what do you call code or computer networks, orbital trajectories. Now, in 2016, they shared a common enemy: the corrupt uniparty, the legacy media, the bureaucratic rot. But now what do we have? Now what do they stand for? Trump is circling back to his base, us. He's preparing for midterm dominance. He is stating this course, and this could either be part of the best attempt, albeit strange, to perhaps cement this, but he's looking for a new lane. Their paths no longer run parallel. So what's going to give? What's going to happen? This is what you have to pay attention to. If Musk launches a third party, which I don't think he is, but it won't just split donors. Oh, no. It's going to fracture the very concept of what the right is, whatever that means. And the questions that people are going to be asking is, will conservatism, or whatever it is that because I don't know what word best describes you, but will conservatism continue as a nationalist? I sound like Steve Bannon. A nationalist populist movement rooted in working class patriotism and Christian values, or will it transmogrify and mutate into some new hybrid, some Silicon Valley influenced libertarianism, that fuses and merges with AI and free speech and absolutism and decentralized power? I mean, these are what you got to know. Because if you expect this particular type of analysis to be heard on News Nation or Fox Nation or Edit Nation or CNN Nation or OAN or Newsmax, it ain't going to happen. They're just not doing that. They're not into that. Be not mistaken. The implications of this are enormous. Big, really big. Trump's support base remains, as you can imagine, fiercely, absolutely loyal. But Musk's appeal to younger types, younger libertarians and independents and digital age, dissidents or whatever, That's growing by leaps and bounds. And the populist firewall, this is the most important, the populist firewall, this thing that Trump built could erode, and not from the left, but from a future, kind of from a future forward flank or something. It's really complicated because this changes the dynamics of things. See, this is pretty easy to most people. See, there's another layer here. This is what you have to understand. This is an issue that many people have to understand. One that many miss. Make the dream great again says the sort of sports are not bread and circuses. It's this political visage. Yes, indeed. And whose visage, whose vantage, whose worldview? That's what we're talking about. Thank you, dear friend. Now let's talk about Musk. What is he about? What's this guy about? Musk and his politics are kind of conditional. And this is what you you got to grasp this. They are conditional. And I asked you once before, do you trust him? And people said, oh, yes. I said, well, I don't know if I trust him because I don't know if he really is in. I don't know, but I don't trust him. I trust Trump a lot better. But you got to ask, what is he all about? See, his politics are conditional. His loyalty to America's tradition, family, faith, nationhood, it's secondary to his belief, interestingly enough, in innovation and survival. His primary aim isn't cultural restoration or anything. It's future building. This is him. Whether that means AI run cities or brain machine interfaces, or again, transhumanism or terraforming Mars or whatever the hell he wants to do. His strategy, his position is post-human. It's not populist. Elon is not into the rubber chicken crowd. He's not about flag, but he's kind of different. But people were so wrapped up in the image and this Elon mania, I don't think people stopped to think, well, really, what is he about? Trump, whatever you think of him, he speaks our language, the language of the American soul. It's true. He talks to truckers and small business owners, factory workers, people who still hang their flags with pride. He hates the idea of these elitist universities. He wants to teach people trades. Musk speaks to engineers and futurists and those who are preparing for a civilization reboot. It's a different world altogether, which brings us to the spiritual fracture. The spiritual fracture at the very heart of this moment. Listen to what I'm telling you. These fights, Gaines and Biles and Trump and Musk, listen carefully, they're not just about policy or platforms. They're about something else. They're about metaphysics. They're about who defines, I'm dead serious about this. Who defines reality? Whose reality? Whose worldview? Who owns the future? Is it biological truth or constructed identity? Who? National tradition or what? Technological acceleration or whatever it's called. Nanotech, high tech, low tech. What are we talking about? Trump is, I'm proud to be an American. Lee Greenwood, God bless the USA. Red, white, and blue. America first. America first. Elon, don't know. But what we're witnessing is the breakdown, kind of like the Great Reset, of old alliances, old allegiances, and the birth of strange hybrids, weird ones. Conservative icons are fighting tech. Look, I saw the other day and I thought it was a picture of Hannity talking to Newt Gingrich. I'm thinking, what era is this? What are we talking about here? Newt Gingrich. Now, Newt Gingrich would say, I'm just as relevant. That's true. But does Newt understand the dichotomy? He's always been kind of like the paleo-conservative type. Is he up for fighting tech billionaires? Athletes now are being dragged into moral skirmishes. This is really interesting. Skirmishes they never asked to fight. And the culture war, listen to me, big dick, listen to me. The cultural war is mutating, it's spreading, it's intensifying. It is on fire. We have so many vectors. It's populism versus high tech versus culture wars versus identitarian politics. And the American public, we're caught in the crossfire. As the great Stevie Ray Vaughan says, we're caught in a crossfire. And we are being forced to pick sides in conflicts that we never had before. Conflicts shaped by almost like algorithms rather than our philosophy, what we really think. This is huge. So what happens next? If Trump and Musk continue their trajectory, the 2026 midterms could be a political earthquake. I can't tell you that I believe any of the legitimacy or the authenticity of these arguments. I can't tell you this, but I have to assume they're true. A Musk-backed third party could pull tech skeptic, libertarians and centrists away from the GOP. Now, whether we are, I'm not a Republican, but I am now, because that's the only party, the only direction that can save this country. Trump's base may double down all at once, but the coalition that won in 2016 could splinter beyond repair. This is absolutely the most serious thing in the world. Meanwhile, listen to this. And I keep going back to this. The culture war. The culture war is what we're talking about. Big Dick weighs in. Big Dick says, I don't know about you, but I like this PDTEM better than conspiracy analysis of Elon is evil. PDT. Donald Trump. Forget the P. P is a, yes. It's, yes, Elon versus evil. No, I agree with you 100%. And thank you, by the way. Or I agree with you 100%. It's more than that. It's beautiful. See, this is the expression. The culture war, Dick, is only going to deepen. Women's sports, whatever. That's it's not about women's sports, it's about what it means. It's going to remain a battleground. And free speech and identity and biological truth and all of this is going to be litigated. Not just in courtrooms, not just on TV, not just in platforms, but in comment sections. It's going to divide society more and more. Classrooms, corporate boardrooms, endorsements. This is huge because it's not about sports. It's the idea that if we can debate gender, we can debate anything. Nothing is too crazy. Now, in both the Gaines and Biles feud and the Trump-Musk standoff or whatever, there's one truth that is absolutely true. One truth, and this is what I want you to grasp. This isn't about left against right. It's about insiders versus outsiders. It's about legacy versus disruption, values versus, new equity considerations, human tradition versus post-human ambition or postmodernism, whatever you want. It's the Great Reset. It's what WEF talked about, but Klaus Schwab said, but not in this area, but the theme makes sense. Whether you back Gaines or Biles or Trump or Musk, the bigger truth remains this. There's no going back to normal. Everything that you thought of growing up, it's not here anymore. Normal is gone. Normal is gone. History is gone. The usual is gone. The old rules are gone. Tell that to Fox News. They don't get it. We're not heading or looking at a debate about a return to tradition. There's no return to tradition. We're hurtling into a future that's being rewritten in real time. And I'm telling you this. Understand, know the background of this. At the risk of redundancy, which I know I am, the question isn't which side you're on. The question is, are you ready for this? Are you prepared? Are you poised? Are you ready to handle this? Because what I'm trying to tell you, and I'm telling everybody that I know, the battle for America's soul is what we're talking about. It's like we're getting out of adolescence. We got to ask ourselves, who are we? It's already here. This is here. And when I tell people this, again, people don't want to grasp this. You know, I always hearken back, my friends, because of my love of music and love of what music has done for all of us. But there was a time when people, even in music, would ask themselves, what does this mean? What is happening here? What is the, I don't know what's the word. Where is this going? Where is this trend? What's happening here, right? What's happening? What is this Beatles? What is this jazz? What is this Taylor Swift? The Ramones, rap, hip hop, and people just sat back. And the people who were in the music business were smart enough to say, get with the program and start understanding the the acceleration of this. We have too much stuff that we're quibbling over. We have too many things that we're wasting our time over. We have too many things. And what I want you to understand and grasp is that this is like something we've never seen before. When you spend any time looking at the history, Spencer, go to Newport. It's the most overrated place in the world, but go to Newport and look at how the old days, the Gilded Age, you know, the cottages and these people who you know, they called the captains of industry, the Vanderbilts and the Mellons, and they were always into conspicuous wealth and castles. The wealth today and the power dwarfs this. They had railroads, mines, timber, you know, sugar plant. There's a guy in Florida. I think his name is Van Hool. He's a sugar baron. Sugar. That's important. It's very, very big. This is information and data. Have you followed what Peter Thiel's doing with Palantir? Are you following this? It's right there in front of you. It is right there. It is going to change everything. Even people who love this popular sense of military life, even they who love to talk all the time about military life and military this, they can't believe what's happening. Mud Chat. Hey, Mud Chat is a new member. Thank you, Mud. God bless you. Thank you so much for that. You know what they're talking about in Europe? Check out RT. Check out France 24, BBC, Mideast Live. Check out Jerusalem Post and Haaretz. Check out. In Europe, they are beyond themselves, freaking out over what's going to happen regarding Russia and Ukraine if they don't stop, if they don't get to the bottom of this. And what everybody is saying right now is they are so freaked out over the notion of food and what happens, supply chains, if there is a tactical nuke detonated. Did you ever think you'd be saying that? And remember, if it happens there, it can happen anywhere. We're not out of the clear. That's why you have to listen to this important and critical message. This is not a joke. Let me ask you a question. What happens when the trucks stop? Think about this. Trucks, you know, the trucks that bring your food, and then when one store closes because of a riot or ransomware hit or a hurricane or even manufactured weather. Oh, yeah, we've talked about that. What happens when all of a sudden, suddenly, the entire supply chain collapses like dominoes? What happens then? We've seen it happen, and it doesn't take much. And that's the thing you've got to think about. A trucker strike, a cyber attack, some EMP, some Carrington-class disaster, a city shut down by violence. It only takes one spark for shelves to go empty fast. And when that happens, and when that moment hits, You either have what you need or you don't. And that's why I am telling you. I want you to go to preparedwithlionel.com. Our trusted friends at My Patriot Supply, they're offering unbelievable deals right now. You've got to see deals on emergency food kits that could save your life and your sanity. Over 2,000 calories per day. For 3 months of food per person, shelf stable for 25 years, in any kind of combinations you want, and made to taste like actual meals, not cardboard, not some military MRE. These kits aren't just insurance, they're peace of mind. So go to preparedwithlionel.com, secure your kit, secure your future. Preparedwithlionel.com, preparedwithlionel.com, because when the world breaks down, the prepared don't panic. My friends, I want you to also think about something which is critical. I want you to go and I want you to clean and wipe clean your memory, your operating system, everything you've thought about politics, everything you've thought, every single thing, and change it immediately. It doesn't apply anymore. It's old. It's, it doesn't work. You have to grasp this. I want you to think back. If you could go back to a time and understood the genius of Big Dick, who says everywhere has a South Side Chicago. I visited Niagara Falls for the first couple hours ago. Change not the course of the river, the Bible. Niagara Falls is interesting. That's something you have to see because it's right there, as you know very well. And thank you, by the way, for your kindness. It's right there on the border, obviously, with Canada. And years ago, there was one of the few things that Michael Moore did, which was pretty doggone good. Cut Up Chatter, by the way, says, have you counted the number of Democratic mayors, governors, etc., are under serious investigation and the USAID to run, and no USAID to run to? They all look so sad. Indeed, have you seen the number of Muslim mayors in the UK? Not that that matters, not that there's anything on it. Thank you for that cut up. I appreciate that. Oh, no. Now remember, nobody has to be afraid yet, because as you know, we have not lowered the boom on anybody except a couple of state judges. They really don't apply. Do you hear what I'm saying? Unless and until the president, through Kash Patel, whom I have no trust in whatsoever, unless they do something, unless they bring themselves to, if they bring themselves to somehow involve them, I guess involve themselves in some kind of serious desire to prosecute, this is all for naught. It's all for naught. But as I was saying, and I appreciate it, thank you, by the way, this doesn't work anymore. These rules don't work. Somebody kept saying the other day, we have to prevent ourselves from communism. I'm saying communism would be welcome compared to this. At least I'd understand it. Give me the enemy I know. You know who the enemy is? The enemy of me right now is deep state, shadow government, globalism. Not communism. People that mask behind or who prepare this notion, this fantasy, if you will, this theory, I guess, this actual belief that there's this thing called, rules and regulations and the like, and there isn't. I'm seeing stuff that is beyond anything I've ever seen. First and foremost, globalism is it. Next, and this is something, and as you know, by the way, July 19th, at the Cutting Room, July 19th at the Cutting Room. Tickets are available. Use that sign that's available. We have a link for you right now. Sal Sal Angelo, ladies and gentlemen, says as a former CO in New York State, it's not hard to believe that Epstein killed himself in prison. The guards are not the most sophisticated to be an accessory before the fact or something like this. Sal, I thank you. Sal, look at the evidence. Forget that. I don't care if he had 1 million people watching, if he was under state or constant security. The hyoid bone is the answer. The hyoid bone is right here. Put your finger under your chin, under your mandible, right here, and go back. The hyoid is this bone that is not connected to anything. It's kind of like floating, keeps your tongue in place, and it's only fractured under the most extreme of situations. Sometimes there's like a chop or a clothesline or something in football, but also strangulation, homicide. That's the story. And it's only done anterior to posterior strangulation pressure. It's fractured. The thyroid cartilage fractured. Inconsistent with wrapping ligature around some cervical and then hanging, suspending. It wouldn't have cracked that. That's it. Look at the particular hemorrhaging, the livor mortis, all of this jazz. And it has been absolutely, positively, without a doubt, the particular hemorrhaging in the eye when there's pressure here and the little capillaries, little burst. It's all there. I'm telling you, listen to what I'm saying. This is the evidence. This is the evidence. You don't need any, I don't care who the guards were. I don't care about it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's it. That's it. And Kash Patel is full of shit. And he still wants to be a star. Going on Joe Rogan, dressed casually? No. Or Dan Bongino? No. They're still stuck in this world. They don't really want to be. He doesn't want to be the head of the FBI. He wants to be a star. Can't do this. Cut Up Chatter says, how many ringing their hands saying, I had nothing to do with it. No memory, sorry. Or the other, I knew but could not say. Now buy my book. Yes, precisely. Exactly, Cut Up. Where were they before? Now listen, you also have to understand something. How long are we going to talk about the Epstein case? The best thing about it the other day, which indicates to me it's still a work, is that because, by the way, Musk has repealed and removed his reference to Trump and the actual, what am I trying to say? The reference to Epstein. Big Dick from Chicago says, when Thomas Sowell does breakdown on Russophobia, I pay you $1 gazillion. When was it Thomas Sowell does breakdown? Thomas Sowell on Russophobia? Well, I'm glad you brought up Russophobia because that's what it is. It is a manic. It is a ridiculous hypersensitivity and indeed a kind of a phobia, which is an unrealistic fear. Sal Angelo says, as it relates to the Baden autopsy, he has offered differing opinions in the review on behalf of his clients. If it fits their objective, he was paid $150,000 to testify on behalf of the Simpson case. Everybody who testifies is paid. And he, by the way, Howie says, just because, Lionel, I like that, just because. You can talk about positions and fractures, and you can look at the great, who was the fellow, he, and put it this way, he would dispute some of the JFK stuff. But if I say this is a hyoid bone, correct, doctor? Yes. Correct? This is a fracture, correct? Yeah, correct? This is the thyroid cartilage. This is a fracture, correct? Everybody see this? Yeah. Not my opinion. These are, when you open up the eyes, this is important to understand. This is something really interesting. There used to be these things years ago called burking. You know what burking is? Burking is years ago they would pay money for people to get to get cadavers for medical schools. And sometimes they would be grave robbers. Well, sometimes they would actually go into hospitals and funeral homes and they would actually sit on people and compress them to suffocate them. And they would often find a button, the impression of a button that is pressed on the chest. They call it burking. You can see this. And these are some of the telltale signs. But let me talk about petechial hemorrhaging. Okay, this is important. This is important. Petechial hemorrhaging. It's spelled Petecc. I'm sorry, Petecial hemorrhaging. It refers to the appearance of tiny red, purple, or brown pinpoint spots on the skin or mucosal membranes or internal organs caused by small blood vessel capillary bleeding. And the spots are called petechiae and do not blanch or fade when pressed. Now, what's interesting about this, in forensic context, petechial hemorrhaging, this is what's important, especially around the eyes or inside the eyelids. And that's why there's this picture they showed of the eyes of Epstein, is associated with suffocation, strangulation, or other forms of asphyxia. And this is critical. The reason why is because of the pressure. The pressure. That's what we saw. And the reason why is because in strangulation is due to how blood flow and pressure change in the body during such an event. During strangulation, there's external pressure on the neck, hands, ligature, forearm, compresses, and the jugular veins, which drain blood from the head, the carotid arteries, which supply blood to the brain. Very thing, arteries away, remember anyway, jugular vein, drainage, carotid arteries, supply the blood, the trachea. Blood can't leave the head. The veins collapse more easily than arteries. So while oxygenated blood may still flow in for a short time, the venous return is blocked and blood backs up in the face, the eyes, and the scalp. Capillaries rupture, and that backed up pressure caused by this is when tiny capillaries burst, leading to petechial hemorrhaging. You can see them in the eyes, the eyelids, the whites called the conjunctiva. Do you ever have conjunctivitis? That's the pink eye, the white. The face, inner lip sometimes. I mean, this is what I'm saying. So either way, you may not like Baden, you may think he's whatever it is, but this is something that cannot be disputed. Our friend Delia Vela says, "You deserve more." Thank you, Delia. I appreciate your generosity. Sal says, I'm not an official narrative sympathizer by any means. Wouldn't it have made more sense to kill Ghislaine since she was the mastermind of the operation? She's still alive, question mark. It might have made more sense, but what difference does that make now? Big Dick says, I admire your courtroom presence and jury duty. And now back here hand farting in the streets. Thank you. And this is my I got off of jury duty. This is what I scan and hold for the next. I treat it like Jim. I got to tell you about that case, but I don't know if it pled yet. I don't want to comment on it until I find out it's over with. Because if it's still going on, I don't want to. But you're not going to believe. You're not going to believe what I saw. We will never know why certain things. Do not know why. Do not do this. Do not spend time. It's interesting, sort of. Why did they kill her? Why not him? Why did they do that? I don't know. Why did they do? I don't know. Of all the people that beats me. Would it make more sense? Yes, it would. What's the point of this? I don't know. Would it have been, why kill him in a federal jail or prison? Why? They could have disappeared him so many times, so long ago. Why? I don't know. Does that make any sense? I wouldn't have done that. I would have had him just go away. Just go away. Into the dark, into the night. None of this makes any sense. What is the purpose of this? I don't know. I will never know. There's so many things. Ghislaine. If you think it's easy, for this, imagine her. They had her, remember, she is controlled by virtue of her family. They told her flat out, look, this is for your family. You're going to go and you're going to do a couple of years. You lived a good life, but don't push it. Okay, fine. She could have been slipped. She could have had an overdose. She could have been racked by guilt. And if you were told, or everybody was told, that the reason why she offed herself was because of the pressure, nobody would have said anything. Nobody would have thought anything of it. They would have said, well, it makes sense to me, right? They would have said that would have made no sense to me. They would have said, well, of course she did that, because she realizes all the harm, all the horror that she involved herself in. There's something called noose on a bun. And when you're in federal custody, it's so easy. I can give you binary substances. I give you a little bit of this today, a little bit of this today, and it builds up in you, whatever it is. And then one day you drink what you think is water, and it breaks down into potassium, or breaks down into whatever it is. These are all kinds of rates, all kinds of things which you have to ask, what is the purpose? What is the reason? We don't know. Why did they do this? What is the purpose? I will never understand. What is it? So we can spend the rest of our days asking this. Why does this? Does it make any sense? I don't know. I don't understand any of it. Where do you think that, I don't know, where do you think that all this is going? We never stop investigating. Who has the property of Epstein? Who owns it? What about the brother? What about Les Wexner? What about the Israel connection? Do you not find it odd? If in Israel there was an American citizen in Tel Aviv who had a mansion, and Bill Clinton went there, or Barack Obama, so American. There was a connection to this American, and let's say the FBI or the CIA. We sent over prominent lawyers from America to investigate this. I think people in Israel would say, "What's this American connection? Why?" And the person there in Israel, let's say, happened to have a trove, a veritable library of some of the most important people in the world in compromising positions in, among other places, let's say Tel Aviv. Don't you think somebody would say, what's this American connection? You damn right they would. Nobody's asking any kind of questions about Israel, because you can't do that. You know, and I know, you can't do it. Do you hear what I'm saying? You can't do that. This is off limits. Do you understand this? This is important. What is it? And this is all we have to say. Now, the most important thing in the world, what I have to tell you is, in the meantime, we have to ask ourselves specifically this question. What is it that has to be done? And what must we do to rectify this situation? Well, I don't know. So in the meantime, what we need to do is simply this. We need to collect our senses, focus on what needs to be done, and keep track of the stuff that really matters. That's all. Keep track of the stuff that really matters. And the stuff that really matters is important. Very, very important. Because it's very easy for us to lose track. So the moral of today, the theory behind this, all of my speeches and all of my stuff. And yes, that, by the way, thank you, Rick Rohr. The likes. Let's talk about this. Let me take a look at this one. Because this is critical for us. Right now, I need 300 likes. I need 300 likes. This is so interesting. I've got so many people on so many other platforms watching this. It's incredible. But that's okay. 300 likes would be most appreciated. You're very kind to be with me tonight, and I appreciate that. You know who else has been very, very kind? You, our great benefactors. Make the dream great again. Our great friend, Big Dick from Chi-Town. Sal Angelo, thank you. Thank you so much. Delilah Vela, thank you. Howie Brown, you've got a lovely daughter. We appreciate that immensely, your kindness. Cut Up Chatter as well. Thank you for that. Raul Rodriguez. Look at this. Leon leveraging Trump is an unparalleled scam. Indeed so. Mud Chat, welcome. Make the dream great. Thank you. And let me see who else we got. That's it. So anyway, thank you for that. Cut Up says, yeah. Will the chocolate run out tonight? I don't know what that means. But thank you. Thank you for that. Now, my friends, I ask you, if the chocolate you are speaking of, that is a memory. Now, my friends, thank you for this. Please subscribe to Lionel Nation. Make sure you remain to line subscribe. Make sure. Ladies and gentlemen, oh my God. Sal Angelo, I will do everything I can to support your channel. Sal, you have, I don't know what to say. Thank you for this. Thank you for this. I believe this breaks the record. I do not believe I have ever been as lucky or have received anything as great as this. I thank you. And that's not in any way to overshadow the kindness and the generosity of others as well. Believe me, I'm not saying that, but thank you for that. You are a mention, a scholar, Sal. I shan't forget you for that. Thank you. Because what we do right now, there's a lot of stuff that's going on, a lot of background, it's a wonderful thing. I've been speaking with you. We're going on, looking at an hour, well, 58 and a half minutes. And it's a labor of love, but it's an intense effort. Not to mention the other stories, and I'll be sending the words out. And what I want to do is I want to teach. More often than anything else, I want you to teach. I want to teach you. And I'm going to teach you how to learn. Teach you how to learn. It sounds crazy, but at least teach you how to learn and how for you to change immediately the way you look at politics. Because if you watch conventional cable news stuff, you're wasting your time. Sal, thank you, my friend. And thank all of you, dear friends. Remember this July the 19th at the Cutting Room. July the 19th at the Cutting Room. Please join us. Please be a part of the fun and the mayhem and the excitement. Tickets are available. You can see in the description section. And thank you. Thank you for our sponsors, and thank you for you. All right, dear friends, on this Saturday Eve, have a beauteous and a glorious night. Thank you so much again for your attention and your support and your love. Don't forget to follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. And until we meet again, my friends, remember these words, our valedictory, our sayonara, our goodbye, our adios. The monkey's dead. Show's over. Sue ya.